everybody. Welcome to the product review. Hi, Marina.
Hi. Thanks for having me today.
Oh, my pleasure. First of all, before I give the big introduction to who you are, just tell everybody, where can people find information about your robes?
Well, I'm pretty active on our Instagram page, as active as I'm going to be. I wasn't a big Instagram person right before I released them, and I'm learning quickly. Not very well, but I'm learning quickly. So Instagram, Peridot_Robes. That's Peridot, Robes, ROBES. And our website is peridotrobes.com.
Wonderful.
And, so I'm kind of at this point, I don't do a lot of social media stuff. I'm kind of just like being quiet and making the robes right now.
You're busy, yeah. So I want to tell people about you if they don't know you, because I'm pretty sure everybody knows you. Everybody I know knows you. So, okay, Marina Hayes. This is Marina. This is my introduction. Fat, queer, poly, sex positive, fat liberationist, robe designer, the openest book of all open books of all time.
My grandma passed away, so now the books are really open. Now they're super open, because I always held a little bit back thinking, what if grandma goes on the internet someday and sees what a mess I am?
You held shit back? I could never tell.
Exactly right. Oh, it's all coming out now. I'm pretty open book. I think I think I needed people like me when I was coming up through a lot of hard things in my life. I needed people to be more loud about the things they were going through. And so, I got no shame. Shame is a waste of time.
It is such a waste of energy. So I'm wearing a Peridot robe. As you can see, Marina's wearing her robe as well. The first time I've ever owned a robe that would tie around my waist and hips and booty, and I'm a size like 30 in pants. Fantastic. I cried. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I have something that ties around my middle. Usually my middle's all hanging out, right? It's like,
yeah. You always have to wear something underneath it or something like that. I went through the same thing for a really long time.
What was this one?
Yeah, exactly. I know this fits me so well. Like, this is the denim from our new line. It's going to be released in a couple of weeks. And this one, I mean, I've been wearing it places. I've been going out.
It's actually denim?
Yeah. Well, it's actually it's an indigo fabric from Brazil. It's like hand dyed, all natural. It's like almost entirely cotton. And we made it kind of denim looking. It's got like, you can't see it very well here, but there's like yellow contrast mustard stitching to make it a little more denim. Yeah, I'll save that for a little bit. And as you can see, it fits all the way around. It fits.
Right, perfect.
And it's so comfortable, and it's like a little heavier weight than what we've done in the past, but it doesn't sit on the skin, so it doesn't feel hot. It breathes well.
What is this one made of? It's like French, some terry cloth or
brush French terry. So terry cloth that we know it is like the little loops, but a brushed French terry is almost like a cashmere.
It's very luscious.
It's super luscious, and it even gets softer and softer the more that you wash it. So it's going to age really well, which is something that's important to me. I know that these robes are a big investment for people, so I want them to get really good over time.
Right. It's not fast fashion. It's not going to be like something you buy from Tort and you're going to throw it away in a year or recycle it or whatever.
Right.
It's going to be something you're going to, like most people's robes.
Yeah.
Most thin people have the same robe for 5-10 years, and they keep wearing it.
My obsession with robes started with my Aunt Lane, who we kind of shared a vacation home with her when I was a kid. Like our family had it some weekends, she had it some weekends. And so the kids' room was her bedroom. And so our closet was her closet. And in her closet, she had like 5 or 6 different kinds of robes.
Oh, yes.
I was fascinated by them as a child. Because there was like a big pink fluffy terry cloth one.
Always one of them.
Silky, slinky, purple, one. There was a light blue one. There was like she had all these different robes, and I just thought, when can my life be? I have 6 different robes, and I grew up fat, which means never until now.
I was trying to buy a robe to wear to college because I was going to be living in the dorms my freshman year, and I ended up having to. And you're 18 years old. I had to go to the men's department to buy a robe, and I was like, oh, sucks. It felt so shitty, and I'm like, it's not even, and it fit great. It was like some of the pockets were on the weirdest side and stuff, but whatever. It lasted me a little while, but I just had to have something, to cover up to go to the shower and stuff.
It's degrading.
Forever.
to have
And
go
I was
out of your
wondering those fluffy ones. They don't make the big fluffy ones for fat girls or fat people. Maybe they do. I don't know, but I've never found one.
They're hard to find. They're very heavy. Like keep in mind when you have smaller sizes, they use like a yard and a half, maybe 2 yards of fabric max. And our robes, we use 5 to 6 yards of fabric per robe. So, you know, when you're talking about the weight of a fabric, that matters a lot because, you know, when we want something really nice, big and plush, the reality of carrying around a 15-pound robe and shipping a 15-pound robe is not the most. If you had it, you wouldn't want it. I tested one. It wasn't great.
If you're like washing your comforter.
Exactly. Wearing your comforter. But we do have some thicker ones coming out for the holidays. Jen keeps telling me to stop talking about it. I'm not going to stop talking about it. The hoodie robe that we have coming out is like it's like a nice sweatshirt fabric, basically, like plush, but it's the perfect thick plush with, but it's lightweight. It's a lightweight, thick plush. It's like the most perfect fabric. And I've turned into an absolute like fabric fiend, like out of control fabric fiend. We get all of our fabric as remnants, which is part of our ethical and sustainable message. And also saves us a ton of money. It saves us a ton of money, saves you guys a ton of money, because we can use more luxury fabrics and not have to pay such a luxury wholesale price for them. So like, for example, the brushed French terry is a very expensive fabric, but we got it for, you know, a lot less than what
it feels so luscious too. It's really nice. And and then like the sleeves are made so that you can cook in it. You're not going to catch your sleeve on fire while you're making pancakes or whatever.
It's there somewhere. Here it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the sleeves like that. I'm comfortable in the 3/4 sleeve. If I have something with long sleeves, I'm always pushing the sleeves up.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've realized in doing this, even though it's wonderful to hear people's suggestions, and I care so much about what people consider to be like their ultimate robe. I mean, that's my business. That's what I care about, you know?
Right.
But in the beginning, the first few releases, I have to stay really true to myself, you know? I have to trust my instincts, you know, I have to, you know, and make a robe that I would want to wear because that's what I know best, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like that's been a thing because my partner in the design aspect of things is Jen Wilder, who's the co-owner of Best. And she knows fat bodies, she knows fat fashion, and she's a lot less, she's more glamorous than I am.
She is very glamorous.
More fashionable than I am. I am a very practical person. I'm not performative. I'm disabled. So, you know, I'm not performing for anyone. I'm just getting by for myself, you know? And Jen is like, let's make it solid silk and let's do it this. And I'm just like, let's make a comfortable robe that people want. You know, but somewhere between the two, she makes it so I'm not frumpy and looks sexy and these are sexy robes.
Oh yeah, my boyfriend loves it because I think mine has like a little tail or something on, like a little baby thing.
Something back there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rather than having the ropes on the side, the belt loops on the side of the robe, I put it in the back. That way, wherever your belly is, you can kind of make your own waistline from there. And what that does is accentuates the ass because it's right.
Yeah. Especially because this material just grabs it all. So my cheeks are like, oh, my man's like, oh.
Yeah. The peach, we had quite a roll around with the peach. The day that I got the sample in the mail, we didn't come up for air for a long time. Every time I tried to get up, he's like, get back here.
Yeah.
And I feel like that every time I watch it, I wear the peach. It's just like I walk differently, you know, I act differently. I have been called very bossy and a little bitchy in that robe. Like, stop bossing me around. I'm like, well, I'm in charge.
That's right. Damn it. So you had this idea, like how many years ago did you have this idea?
Going on 4 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, and probably longer than that, you know, whenever I got yet another disappointing robe. I got a really good long jersey black robe from Lane Bright many years ago. And it was a holiday release only, floor length, you know, just kind of simple long sleeve. And I bought 2 of them because it was like so rare to have a robe, and it was better than any robe I'd had, but it still wasn't great. You know, acceptable. And, you know, it didn't cover me in at all angles. Like I'd, you know, lean forward and something would fall out.
Yeah.
So,
and your robes have pockets.
Yeah. And so, you know, I realized what I wanted didn't exist. I had a friend of mine who's a costume designer who I basically asked her to make a custom robe for me. And then my friends would come over and ask to borrow the robe all the time because all my friends are fat. And then from there, I was just like, why don't we have robes? Like, it's so, I do feel entitled to have everything as a fashion,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not like, what do they call it? Body neutral or you know, even body positive. I'm a straight up fat supremacist. You know, I think we're better than everybody. I think we deserve more. I think everyone should worship us everywhere we go. I don't understand. You know, I walk into certain rooms I'm worshipped. Not all of them. And that's always weird to me. I'm like,
what's going on here?
God for you, you know?
Right? Yes, bow down.
On the liberated side.
How did you finance all of this? Did you have any angel investors or any help, or did you self-finance? Or
my own damn angel investor? I didn't have a single investor besides me. I had a house in Silver Lake that we bought very cheap, and I fixed up over the years. Did a lot of the work myself and turned it into a really amazing house. But there was a ton of stairs to get to the house and a ton of stairs in the house. And as my disability got worse, it became for me. So I decided I would sell that house and use that money to fund my dream of a robe company.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
And if it doesn't work out, I don't know. I'll make sandwiches for a living. Yeah.
I had a business once with a partner, and I was told myself I will never have a business partner again because I know what I want. I know what I like, and it's really hard to make decisions with another person. And like both, I'm not built that way. I just know. I know I'm very decisive, and I just want to. This is what I want, and this is what I think is right, and I don't want to have to talk to anybody else about it. I mean, it's nice to have some other input, but I don't want anybody else to have a 50% say in the decision. You know, doesn't work.
I like compromise in a lot of areas, but for this, I'm the one who has to deal with the consequences if it's not right. And so I need to be solely responsible for what it is. And I briefly tried to work with my best friend, who is my favorite person in the world. She was gifted to me by someone else who was like, I know this amazing chick. She's so much like you. You guys would get along. And she brought this wonderful woman in my life, Anita. She's my favorite. I love her so much. We can't work together. Cannot work together.
It's probably not a good idea to work
like me. She's very strong-minded, and she thinks she's right about everything. And she is right. She's right a lot. I'm also right. And we just can't. We basically, we almost really fought. It was 3 days where I was like, and I was growling, she was growling. And then we came back together and said, hey, I have an idea. Let's never do that again. And let's never work together because it doesn't work.
If you never had a friend break up, it's worse than a romantic breakup, honestly. And I've had one in my life, and it's still hurts my heart, you know. So tell us about sizing for the robes.
Yes. Well, that was another thing that I kind of stuck to my guns about, because for manufacturing, it would have been a lot cheaper and a lot easier to have like size 1, 2, 3, you know, or something like that, and bunch a whole bunch of sizes together. But I find that, you know, one size fits all never works.
Nope.
And it's literally dangerous for me as a disabled woman. So, you know, I was like, no, I want these to be pretty straightly sized. We're size 14 to 40. That was another thing. I didn't want to go down to size 14. It was like size 14s have options for robes.
Right.
And everyone was like, no, you have to do the smaller sizes. And literally, I had so many people tell me that. Every person, I know a lot of people who are in plus size retail, and they all told me the same thing. Like, you have to make a robe for smaller fats. And so I did, and they love it, and that's great, you know. But my focus was always like our sample size, our first fitting was for my body. I'm a size 20-30. So, and so all of our samples are on me. And then really, I mean, I just don't like the whole like start it small, move it up.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't work. You know, that's how things get disrespectful. So
Yes,
I
yeah.
really wanted it to be like on the heavy side of the middle. And then really we did the next fittings with the larger people than me. And then we really did the 14, 16s last.
I noticed when I was in the lingerie business, what the lingerie designers would do, they would try to like say, this will fit 2022, 24. The 24 is going to get screwed, and so is the 20. The person in the middle, the 22. I appreciate what they're trying to do, but it doesn't really work.
No. And I love that as an entire industry, we're evolving, you know, and we're learning that this is, I mean, this is another thing that I heard from so many people is that like plus size people, especially extended plus size people, we're not willing to invest in something like this at this price point. We're $190. That includes sales tax, which is 10%. That includes shipping, which is $20. So, you know, it's $190 just because I didn't want people to get sticker shock, you know, once you add those things on. But I heard from so many people, they were like, you know, we just don't sell things at higher price points to larger people. And I'm like, I know from my own experience that that's because their clothing is fucking hideous and it doesn't fit us correctly. So I'm like, okay, you want to blame us for being picky when you're putting no effort to give us gorgeous fabrics, beautiful colors, a proper fit, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And that's one thing working with Jen Wilder that I knew I was going to get. I was going to get the fit. I was going to get, you know, she really knows plus bodies.
Don't you also have an option? Like if you are larger than a size 40, you might be able to do something custom for a customer.
I will make a robe for anybody.
Yeah, that's cool.
I won't make a robe for anyone smaller than a 14 though. No. And I've been asked.
They don't need our help.
Oh my God. Like I literally blocked someone for asking me that. Like, no.
So like people come into my store like, what if you just carried all straight sizes and large sizes? Look, you can buy fucking lingerie at Target. You can buy lingerie everywhere. We can't. So no, I'm not going to carry your sizes. You don't need me. Like it's like you. No.
All lives matter of the clothing.
I was going to say that.
No.
Like, white people don't need to like us
right now.
Small bodies matter.
Yeah. And, you know, I empathize with people who are having trouble finding fits, but it's out there for them. It just does. It exists. If you're a size 8, you can do it. The most, I'll openly talk about the most annoying customer that I've had with the robes was a woman who was a size 8. She ordered a size 22, 24 from me. She ordered 2 robes from me in that size, and then she returned them for being too big.
Why did you do that?
And I cover shipping both there and back. So her that cost me $40 there and $40 back. It cost me $80 for her to take a little trip in the fat world and out of my pocket, and I gave her a full refund. Then she tried to reorder in a size, a size, the next size down. And I reported her to Shopify for fraud.
Good, yeah.
And I'll do that if anyone tries that shit with me again.
What an asshole. So just, I swear, I don't even get me going. 5 years of owning Curvy Girl made me really bitter. And it ruined my mood for a full like day and a half. I looked up her address. I was like, of course it's a Tacoma person, you know. The people that would ask me for discounts and stuff, I'm like, you know, I'm not Walmart, right? I'm an independent store. Like, it's just me. My rent is $3,000 a month. You know that, right? I'm in Silicon Valley. But they still, you know, can I just get like a little discount, free gift? I'm like,
no.
Oh,
yeah, I understand. For me, I understand why people are asking that and they want to see if it's going to be on sale. It'll never be on sale. It's never going to be on sale. I'm already undercharging them by a lot. Apparently, I just found out last night. And, you know, so, I mean, and then also, I'm not giving any more robes to influeensers. And
Marina, no. And Marina, you don't want to market to the cheapskates anyway. You really don't. They're just a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And then if if they don't get how unique this is, and I understand sometimes people just really cannot afford it. And look, fat people don't get the promotions, we don't get the jobs, we are, we are oppressed as far as how much money we can make. And I get that. So it's just not for everybody, sadly. You can't be everything to everyone. So you just have to really do well for your people and just do the best you can. And, for me, I just, like my boyfriend said, I want you to have one. So I'm going to buy it for you. And I was like, oh, I'd rather buy my own stuff, He's like, look, I really think you deserve this. I wanted to get this for you. So it was like a gift to me, but I was going to find a way. I was going to save enough money to buy it. And now I'm in a much better situation financially. But there was definitely times in my life where I could not have afforded this. I wasn't be mad at you. I'd just be like, okay, I'll put a little money aside each week for this thing I really want.
Especially now that fair wages are such a topic of conversation. And I never, as awful as I didn't think about that for many years, and I'm really friends with Kat Eves, who is, in my inner circle people, and she's a plus size stylist, and she's really big out there in ethical and sustainable fashion. Her in my ear through a lot of this, and also, just like my own ethics. Like, I don't think if your business model, is built on the suffering and oppression of other people, it's not a successful business model. We have to redefine success for businesses and say, are you being kind to the environment? Are you being kind to your community? Are you being fair to your workers? Are you being good to your customers? Are you giving them a good value? Like, all of those things have to play into success. It can't just be about the bottom dollar, because I made in Los Angeles, all of our people make really fair wages. These robes could be $80 if I decided to send it overseas, use the shittest possible fabrics, all that kind of stuff, send it to people in a bag, and all that kind of stuff. Like, I could do that. I'm not that person. I don't want to be that person.
All these special little things that I got with my robe too, some incense, and it was just so beautiful, beautiful presentation. And never market to the cheapskates. And hopefully everybody will start to understand how important it is for us to make sure that people do get a living wage. $15 an hour is not a living wage, but whatever. That's a whole other topic. But so what's next? What are you doing? You have a Christmas line or holiday line?
Yes. I have the Hoodie Robe coming out for the holidays. I also have a men's robe coming out, both for tall men and for short, big men. And I have a lounge dress coming out that's really wonderful. And I just touched the fabrics for it yesterday. I'm a fabric toucher. I love touching the fabrics. It makes me so happy. Like, every time I'm just like, oh yeah. And I'm like rubbing it on my cheek, stuff like that. And then we're going to be, of course, doing the Bear and the Cush in new fabrics, because we're fabric remnants. Nothing ever comes back. It's all limited edition. And so, whatever's cool and in stock at our fabric remnants place is what gets made. So,
what I like about your robes, even though I think most of the robes were shown on very femme people, I think if someone was non-binary, if they just, I think there's things you have for everybody. You don't have to be super femme or super anything. You can just, I think there's some options for everybody.
I love the guys that bought the peach.
Yes.
We had a couple of sales of the peach to guys, which I love, which has like a deep V and flared hips and a string on the back, which is cool. I was always pretty sure I didn't want to have gendered robes. But at the same time, when I looked at the realities of manufacturing for a body that is technically different, I still don't want them gendered, but at the same time, the fit matters to me. And you see a dude with a shoulder line up here, it looks very strange, or them. So definitely the bear for me, that's the one I'm wearing. This is a bear. It's got front pockets. It's got flatter collar, not like the shawl collar. To me, that's a little more utilitarian. I have very butch tendencies myself. I, in times in my life, have been, very non-binary and, that kind of stuff. It depends on who I'm dating. So I'm seeing like a het guy right now, and so I've femmed it up a little bit, not for him, but just that's the natural way that it lays for me. But certainly, you know, I hung out with a friend of mine and immediately put on the butch robe and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, I'm feeling a little swagger today, you know. So yeah, I mean, we want to accommodate all of that, all the different styles.
Most fat women have worn men's clothing because we've had to, right? Yeah. And we all know when we buy a men's shirt that's, you know, gendered by that manufacturer, we know that the seams for the shoulders and the sleeves are going to go down here, even though it's supposed to be short sleeve. And there's going to be seams here. The neck's going to be too big. It's going to be too long. The pockets are going to be in the wrong place. Sometimes the zipper's on the wrong side. It's different.
Where else do you get a 4X shirt?
What you have to do sometimes. So,
you know, my boyfriend wears a lot of Torrid. He does. You know, I don't buy directly from Torrid. I get my stuff from the Plus Bust for the most part. And he likes a rainbow sweater. He loves. He wore a Tamara Mollis dress that was really hot on him, and just, you know, to lounge around the house. He's comfortable with himself. I'm comfortable with myself. I think everyone should get on that page. You know.
Yeah. And, why is clothing gendered at all? I mean, it's so silly, but I know.
Yeah, but I mean,
bodies.
I like to feel, you know, really pretty sometimes, but also I feel really pretty in the bare. I feel it, you know?
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, and the men's robe that we have coming out is, it's a dream. It's so nice. If I was dating someone who had that robe, I would steal that robe from them. Like,
when my man wears his robe, I'm just like, oh, I love it. He has like a terry cloth robe, and I'm just like, oh, it's terry cloth robe season. I just, I can smell him on it, you know. And I was like, oh, I love this thing. I wish I could wear it, but he's a lot smaller than me. But I just, something about a man in a robe, anybody in a robe is just looks so cuddly and soft and squishy. You just want to be like on them.
And that's my sexuality right there. I mean, I'm attracted to people who aren't performing. I've never gone, you know, as much as I love the lingerie world and aesthetically, it's wonderful for me, myself. I like being naked.
Yes.
I like being naked, and I like being about to be naked. You know, that's what I'm into. So as soon as we can and then the robes, you know, are pretty easy access. So
very easy. Yes. I always tell my boyfriend, you get naked so fast. He's like, you could get naked that fast too. I was like, oh, okay. I have to learn. He's instantly naked. I'm like, how did you? All right, let's do this.
My ex used to call it, it's time to strip and rip. And we would just like rip it all off, and it was instant, very, very fast. So,
Marina, do you sew at all?
I have, I have. I don't do a lot of the technical design on this because that's Jen, because that's what she's incredible at.
Right.
I'll never be Jen. I never would want to be Jen. I have all kinds of useless knowledge taking up space in my head that's not that.
Yes.
So, but I do know the process. I used to make clothing for myself and all clothing. It started when I was in middle school and I couldn't find pants that fit me. So my mom would buy me pants at Marvin's and they didn't fit me. I would take up the side seam and then sew in a ribbon on the side.
Oh,
so I had all these like racing stripes on the side of the pants because my pants didn't fit me. And I know that a lot of, you know, fat people have, you know, had to accommodate themselves like that as well. So I've done that throughout the years. I still do that. I had a really great Rachel Pally dress that I loved. Rachel Pally's, you know, plus sizes are not as plus as they used to be. Yeah. And I ordered it thinking, oh, I love the fabric. It was like this mustard yellow bird floral print. And doesn't fit me. So I took up the side seam, just like the good old days, and sewed in a wedge of fabric there. And now it's the only one of its kind.
That's right. It's one of a kind. I'm taking sewing. I have my last lesson tonight.
Oh, fantastic.
And I invested in one of the sewing teachers' refurbished sewing machines. And I remember when I was like 12, I used to sew. So I'm having a lot of fun with it, but I'm not, you know, I'm not good at it yet. I'm just doing the basics, but I have some taco material. So I'm making a bunch of taco tote bags.
Oh, I love that. That's fantastic. Are you thinking about making yourself some kind of clothing with it?
I don't know. My mom quilts, so I was thinking about maybe learning how to quilt. And then Dave and I just always have little things that need to be like, I wear aprons to work, and sometimes the ties, because they're cheap, they come off. So I thought I'm going to reinforce those ties because I'm sure I put a lot of pressure on them because I carry a lot of my weight in my belly and my hips and my butt. And so whatever, I'm going to sew the fucking things. The seam's so hard, I'm never kind of coming down.
I rigged up my own apron years ago, and I went at a gourmet wine and cheese shop, and they were like, "Here's your apron." I'm like, "Whose apron? My apron? That's not my apron."
Oh, that's so cute.
It's adorable. I rigged that thing up. I put like thicker ties on it and longer ties. Yeah. I look so freaking hot in that thing.
I bet, yeah.
I got asked out constantly because I was just like, I was the busty sandwich babe, you know, like, you want some prosciutto? Who's gonna turn that down? So, but yeah, I love aprons. We should do fat lady aprons.
Yeah, you know, my sweetie requests for me to just him show up after work, and I'm just in an apron. So I have some things going on here.
It's the weirdest thing that they find sexy. I mean,
me too.
My kid loves the peach, but also the pinnacle of sexiness for him is copper unions overalls.
Oh yeah,
he loves them. And I wear that. He's like, "Ooh, you're so cute. Look at you." Overalls on, so cute, you know. And he just really, he's like you're busting out in all the right places, and he loves it. You know, when you love the body, you love all kinds of stuff on the body.
Absolutely, yeah. I can see. I think what you're doing is so important, and so I wish other designers would take a page from your playbook and really be inclusive. Don't say you're inclusive if you only go up to size 22. You know, you get 40. Even Lane Bryant goes up to a size 40 now.
Sauce West was doing the fight for inclusivity.
That's right,
Fight for inclusivity. And I saw it percolating in her for a long time. And it's certainly something I believe in. It's hard for me, like some of the influencers I love the most, who are, you know, dear friends of mine, you know, rep for Fabletics, who pay them pretty well. I hope they're getting paid well to do a line that goes up to, you know, 3 or 4X, which doesn't include me. I've looked at the measurements. I can't wear something like that. I've worn a 4X. I can wear 4X in some brands. I can't wear 4X in Fabletics.
Yeah.
And, you know, how can you call yourself, you know, there for the plus community if you're repping brands? But at the same time, they have, you know, we are marginalized financially by the world, and they're there to make a living. And, you know, being an influencer is a great job for someone who's disabled, homebound, anxious, you know, whatever you've got going on. So part of me is like, don't put pressure on them, put pressure on the brands.
Right.
Because Fabletics can fucking afford to make a 5X, 6X, 7X that are actually a 5X, 6X, 7X, you know? They can afford to do that. They just don't care to. Like, and that's what I learned doing this, is I always thought it really was, and for a long time it was really hard to actually manufacture larger sizes. It's not anymore. It exists. And especially when you have that kind of brand and that kind of reach, you have your own rooms.
Mallory Dunn from Smart Glamour kind of educated me. She's like, no, they can't, Crystal. Here's how, here's why. And she's like, broke it down like in a document. And she's like, it's total bullshit that Lane Bryant can't go to size 40. It's total bullshit that Torrid can't go to size 40 or whatever they want to call it. It's like their argument is weak, done, no. And I was like, holy shit. I love sharing her stuff because she's very inclusive, right? She goes up to 16X. And if you need her to, she can go beyond that. But she's a one-person shop like you, or, you know, one-person owner. She's just doing what she can. But those other companies have so fucking much money, and they don't want our fat money. I don't think. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they've deemed us not profitable because they give us garbage. You know, they give us shit. And look at how disrespectful they are to the people who work in their factories. And look at how disrespectful they are to the people who, their sales associates in their stores. Those people are making, you know, $12 an hour, $30 an hour if they're lucky, you know, like Victoria's Secret, that whole fucking joke. You know, they're disrespectful all over the place. The only people they care about is skinny, you know, people who are walking on the runway. They don't care about anybody else. They don't care about the women who work in their factories, the people that work in their stores.
Hell no.
You know, so it's like, when you really care to do better, you care to do better at every level. And that's what I mean, I'm not going to do this unless I can be really proud of it, you know?
That's great. Like I said, I wish more designers would take a page from your playbook, because it's important.
I think there's more there's more opportunity for indie designers now, and there's more of a market for it than ever before. And, you know, you see brands like, I mean, we sold out our first weekend. There's money in this.
Hello.
I may not be making that money, but I sold out.
That's right. There might not be any profit margin in it.
I looked at my numbers at the end. I was like, wow. And then I was like, oh, I just basically paid Jen. That was it. You know?
It'll get better though. It'll get a lot better. And I think you have a lot of momentum. And, you know, when you have a new line, I see people get really excited when you have a new design. And I think it's really, it's really exciting. It looks like there's some cops sitting out in front of my house now. So I should probably hang up.
Charger over here, my neighbor's car.
No. No.
What's going on outside of our windows?
Yeah, very strange. Thank you so much for your time today and for telling us all about Peridot Robes. Oh, how did you come up with the name? I love the labels too, by the way.
Everyone told me my other name was garbage.
Or?
My first name was Jupiter Robes because I love Jupiter. It's a big, sexy planet, you know?
Yeah.
And
size whore, size queen.
Everybody was like, Jupiter? No. And so Peridot just came to me. It's a beautiful sparkling green stone. It's born in fire. You know, it means a lot. I'm not really into like crystal astrology and all that kind of stuff, but I read the meaning behind it and I was like in tears. I was like, it's like healing from trauma, like deep comfort and self-compassion and like all that kind of stuff. And I was like, all those things. I want to be all those things, like deep, restful stuff. And the fact that it's either born in a volcano or born in a meteorite. Like those are the two ways you get Peridot.
Cool.
And so I was like, yeah, and then plus it's a beautiful color. So
it is. And your logo is very Art Deco, kind of Hollywood glam a little bit.
Person.
Yeah, it's really neat.
Yeah, it's based on the big arched window that used to be in my house in Silver Lake that I sold in order to fund the robe company. So I want to take a little bit of the house and put it onto the label to remind me, you know, where this all came from.
Last question for our listeners who might want to buy a robe. Do you ship outside of the United States?
Yes. International shipping is a little bit of a mess right now, as I'm sure they've realized, because there's certain borders that are closed and the process of Trump really did a number on the postal system and the shipping systems outside the country. Yeah. So it's costing a lot more. What I've decided to do this time around that we didn't do last time around is I'm going to be giving a $20 credit towards international shipping, because that's what we offer free shipping for domestic orders. Right. So and that costs us $20 per order. So I'm taking that $20 and putting it towards international shipping. That way, you know, it kind of helps with the cost a little bit. But yeah, my Brad is a big old shipping nerd. He really enjoys the process of international shipping. He's like, this one's going to Japan, and let's see how it gets there fast. We do good shipping. So yeah, and I'm happy to do that. I would like to get these robes to everybody. And I also found like someone in New Zealand wanted a robe and the shipping to them was like bananas. And I found a plus size robe company in New Zealand for her instead. And I was like, here, try out these people. They look really good. And she's like, I hate their fabrics.
You know, I'm like a business consultant for my friend's gift basket business. What we decided to do is say on her website, when they buy through her website, no international shipping, no Canadian shipping. But in the FAQs, we say, if you are international or you're in Canada, you can reach out to us and we can do something manually, but you just can't do it through the website because there's going to be additional costs and stuff. So it has to be kind of like a one-off thing. Be like, here's what it's going to cost to ship to New Zealand. Here's the documents we need. Here's the how to get it through customs, like all that kind of stuff. So we just made it so a little more difficult for them. But they can still do it just through email as opposed to through the website.
That's smart. That's really smart. I'm having a lot of fun with the frequently asked questions part of the website. Yeah. And there's a little hidden part in there that we actually, because I had a lot of people who said that they couldn't afford our robes. Right. I have a part in there and I want more people to know about it. I don't want too many people to know about it, but here's a little secret. Okay. If we have a robe left over from like a sample or a photo shoot or a return and it's in your size and you really want a robe, I will send you a robe.
Just pay the shipping maybe.
Nope, I'll pay the shipping.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Yeah. We're shipping a lot of stuff out anyways.
Yeah, $20 is $20.
Yeah, so if someone is really in need, and I put this more towards people who are like, infinifats, super fats, disabled, people, people of color, like, all that. If you're more marginalized, if you just want a free robe, but if you're facing things, I've faced things in my life, and you
Yeah.
deserve comfort in this. And if we can do that for you, we're happy to do that.
We should move to the top of the list for sure. Just skyrocket right to the top. And everybody else will be fine. But thank you so much again. It's such a pleasure. And I love my robe. I love that it has pockets. I love that it's soft. It fits my fat body and my fat booty and my hips and my stomach and my boobs. Never in my life. And I feel
I'm
like
so outraged when someone asks me if they have pockets. I'm like, of course they have pockets. You think I'm a monster making pocketless robes?
It's so soft I could sleep in it. It's like jammies. It's
yeah. Oh, I love jammies. And I love the word jammies.
Me too. Me too.
It's comforting. It's just nice.
All right. All the information in the notes so that people know where to find it and where to buy it and all that good stuff.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me and getting me to.
Nice to talk to you in person.
I'll see you later. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Take care.